David Boyle, and I'm quitting alcohol. So I am fucking sick. I've got hay fever or some shit. My nose is runny, my throat's sore, my eyes are fucking itchy. It's fucked. I thought I was just really, really tired from the 1 hour I spent on stage over the last 5 days. So it kind of didn't make sense how tired I was, and it kind of did. It was a big night, Saturday night, 4 days ago. I've been completely cooked since Monday, since I got back. I've been fucked. I didn't even make it to jiu-jitsu today either. I mean, I could have powered through, but I would have been snotting on cunts and it would have been fucked. But hopefully I feel a bit better tomorrow. I'm just zapped. So for those of you who have been asking about the Oppression Chamber podcast live recording, I think it will be going up on my Patreon only. I will ask the boys what they want to do about it, but the video for some reason came out a bit fucked. It was overexposed or some shit. I don't know. I didn't look after it. Dor was meant to look after that, but he didn't even look after it. He got a professional fucking videographer there, one of our friends. He looked after it and it came out fucked. So I don't know if we want to put it up anywhere public. Also, you lose heaps of the vibe from it in video anyway. So it's only like 40% as good as it was live. So I'll ask the boys, get their fucking all clear, and I'll chuck it up on the Patreon. Join the fucking Patreon. It's a pint a month, and you get exclusive content like the video podcast. And also, I fucking took some headshots when I was down in Melbourne, and I'm going to put them on the Patreon so you cunts can fucking choose which one's good. I don't like any of them, but I'll chuck them up and you brutal cunts can fucking choose. Also, fucking, I forgot to tell you about the second Louis I went to. Louis C.K. The second show, the Tuesday night. That was a week ago. Does anyone care? Anyway, it was probably better the second night. Same shit though. He went word for word. Exactly the same fucking show. Barely missed a word. It was just exactly the fucking same. It was very strange actually to see how fucking scripted it was. I know he writes pretty much every word he says, but there was hardly any deviation even in the small bits. We were on the ground level the second show. I went with my wife and we were much closer, so it was much better seeing him the second time. But even my wife, who's a massive Louis C.K. fan, she's like, he does way too much fucking child fucking material. There is way too much child fucking material in Louis C.K.'s set, which could be a problem because he used to do way too much jerking off material as well. Way too much. And now he's doing way too much child fucking material. Maybe he's getting too deep into his subconscious. It's a little bit disturbing. Oh, and there was a fucking drunk bitch next to me that night. Fucking Jesus Christ. For the first like 20 minutes of the show, she just wouldn't shut the fuck up. I think she was on a first date with some guy. And the guy was like, can you please shut the fuck up? And she was hammered. Proper hammered. And they got into like a mini argument. And then he fucking drudged off. And she was left there sitting by herself. And she wasn't even listening to fucking Louis. And she was like overreacting to everything, like laughing hard at the wrong spots and all that. She was just fucking hammered. He comes back with fucking a couple of wines for her. I'm like, that's not a good idea. And some fucking potato chips, some crisps. I'm like, perfect. This bitch has been talking through the whole fucking thing. Now she's going to chew fucking potato chips in my ear for the next fucking half an hour while I'm trying to watch Louis. And that's what she did. In between chewing and talking and fucking overreacting, I spent half an hour of the show just in a fucking full-blown rage. And then they have like a little mini argument with each other again. And she gets up and walks out. And he just yells after her, see ya. I'm like, you dodged a bullet there. Anyway, we've closed that loop and now let's open another loop. I've missed it the last couple of weeks because I've been busy and lazy, but it's back. It's everybody's least favorite or favorite segment. It is Boyle Breaks History. So this week, I'm going to tackle the Iran-Contra affair. So the only reason I'm even tackling this is because I was watching some Epstein thing and Ghislaine Maxwell, and apparently her dad was involved in the Iran-Contra affair or something like that. I'm like, what the fuck was Iran-Contra? I've heard of it heaps of times. I always thought it was like, I don't know what I thought it was. I thought it was some opium bullshit or something like that. Like the Iranians were selling opium or some shit like that. But no, it was far more dodgy than that. So let's get into it. So let's talk about the Contra part of the Iran-Contra. I thought it meant contraband, but it's not. So the Contra were a group in Nicaragua, that little fucking paradise in Central America. So back in the day, this is like the early 80s, Nicaragua was ruled by the Sandinistas. Andale, andale, yeehaw, yeehaw. So the Sandinistas, they were like a socialist fucking whatever. They were like communists, whatever. They were communists. They were lefties. They all had purple hair and arts degrees. They were all they were all trans. So when the Transinistas, the Sandinistas were in power, a fucking actor named Ronald Reagan was the president of the United States, and he had some fucking bullshit idea. He was going to fucking crush communism, and he was going to support anyone going against the communists. And in Nicaragua, the cunts that were opposing the Sandinistas were the Contras, and they were dodgy as fuck too. They were pretty much the people who ruled Nicaragua until the Sandinistas took over. So they were dodgy cunts as well. They were doing all sorts of fucked up shit. So Reagan wanted to support the Contras against the Sandinistas, but the US Congress were like, hey, how about enough of the fucking coups? How about we stop overthrowing governments? And Reagan was like, no, we're fucking sick of that. Let's keep doing it. And then Congress were like, no, let's fucking not. And they passed an amendment called the Boland Amendment, where it fucking basically said, I think it explicitly said, we're not going to fund a war in Nicaragua to overthrow the government. That was the amendment. It made it illegal to fund an overthrow of the government of Nicaragua. So at the same time as this was happening, over there in that tropical island resort they call Iran, the Shah had just been overthrown in the Islamic Revolution, and the Ayatollah was in charge. Ayatollah Khomeini or some shit like that. I think it's the same crew, not that guy. I think it's the same crew that are fucking up Iran now. So how long did that take? Like 40 years for another fucking revolution? 40 years, that's a good stint. That's about how long dictators last. They don't last that long. You got a good 50 years in you. If you're brutal. If you're a pussy, you're only going to get like 20 years. So at the time, Iran was at war with Iraq, but also what was going on was Hezbollah, the fucking Lebanese terrorist group, had just taken like 120 hostages or some shit. Over 100, and a bunch of Americans and Westerners and all that sort of shit. So Reagan was like, I want these cunts released, but we can't really deal with Iran because they're anti-American and we don't fucking negotiate with terrorists. So we're in a little bit of a pickle here. So he ended up getting some dodgy like shadow agent guy. His name was fucking Lieutenant Colonel Oliver North or something. Fucking Northy. He was like an underground guy. This is all going behind the back of every cunt. So Iran is like, we need weapons. We need weapons to fight Iraq. And the US are like, well, we can't sell you weapons because you hate us, but we also want these hostages released. So I'll tell you what we'll do. And this is what they did. They got that Oliver North cunt to organize Israel to sell some arms to Iran. So the Jews gave the Muzis some arms, like fucking military fucking hardware or whatever. They sold it to Iran, and then the US replaced all the weapons that Israel gave to Iran. And then Oliver North, or whoever was in charge of it, took the money that was made from the sale of those weapons and gave it to the Contras in Nicaragua. And that went on for like 5 years. just the shadiest fucking shit. The Jews are selling fucking arms to the Iranians on the orders of the US. The Israelis aren't just going, yeah, let's fucking give them some weapons. The US going, give them weapons because we need some money for the Contras as well. So it was just a fucking circle of just dodgy shit. And then it all exploded. And Reagan was just like, I didn't even know it was happening. I had no idea. Kind of like what I'm going to be like when the boys ask, where's the money for the ticket sales for the live show we did on Saturday? Where did the money go? I'll be like, I'm not too sure. I used it for the Contra band. So that's it. Obviously, there's some bits and pieces, but that's all you really need to know. You don't need to know any more than that. And that closes the book on that chapter of Boyle Breaks History. If you are enjoying the podcast, give it a share around. Hit me up on social media. I'm Boyle Comedy on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. And I'll see ya the fuck later.